So, you think your family drama is bad? Wait till you meet Chief Adekunle Thunder, the billionaire who almost fainted when his only son said he was marrying a girl who owned only one stubborn goat. Grab your fan, dim the lights, and get ready for a story hotter than Lagos Sunday. The news started like a small rumor, one of those whispers that begin in the market and end on Twitter. Chief Adekunle Thunder's only son, Damilare, announced he was marrying a poor village girl named Amara. Lagos froze. Billionaires stopped eating. Influencers started typing paragraphs with no punctuation. You could hear shock traveling through people's mouths like electricity. One woman screamed, and with all the fine girls in Lekki, another fainted into her phone. By evening, hashtags appeared number love or lotion and number good girl wedding. Even the chief's driver stopped polishing the Range Rover to watch the chaos unfold. Chief Adekunle himself nearly dropped his iPad. Marry who? He asked, like the word itself was an insult. A girl who uses sachet water to wash her hair? His voice could boil yams. He called his board members to an emergency meeting not for business, but heartbreak. Meanwhile, Damilare was calm. He posted a photo with Amara smiling beside her goat. Caption: True love doesn't check bank balance. The internet exploded. Some people supported him. Others wrote think pieces about spiritual blindness. In one night, a simple love story turned into national entertainment. But that's how it always starts: laughter in public, tears in private. Because by dawn, Chief Adekunle had already planned his son's deliverance. He didn't raise a boy who would throw family billions into a clay pot of love. No, he would stop this nonsense by any means necessary. You're Chief Adekunle Thunder. You built 5 companies, 3 mansions, and 1 angry ulcer. You raised your son to think big, but somehow he's thinking small, like marriage. The boy went abroad for 7 years and came back with accent, beard, and humility problems. Now he says love matters more than money. You stare at him like he's an unpaid tax. Damilare, are you okay? You ask. He smiles, saying, Daddy, she's different. You mutter. Different how? She doesn't have electricity. The boy just nods, looking like a man baptized in foolishness. You begin to suspect your ancestors skipped him during the blessing distribution. Even his mother cried. My son, what did they feed you in that America? She asked. He said, hope and Wi-Fi. Nobody laughed. Meanwhile, Amara continued living her normal life, waking early to fetch water, feeding her goats, and selling roasted corn at the junction. She didn't know she was trending. Her only concern was that her goats kept following her to the toilet. The whole town began to talk. Some said she used charm. Others said she saved the boy's life. In another word, you know gossip, once it starts, even mosquitoes will have opinions. By the 3rd day, Chief Adekunle called a family meeting. This love thing, he said, it must end. His wife sighed, his driver prayed, and his son smiled like someone who already knew a secret everyone else would soon learn. Now let's talk about Amara, the girl everyone underestimated. Her beauty was not loud, it was patient. Her laugh sounded like morning bells, and when she spoke, even nonsense began to make sense. She didn't try to impress anyone. She just lived like the earth owed her peace. When Damilare first met her, it wasn't love at first sight, it was confusion. He was lost in a village, sweating like a Christmas goat. When Amara helped him find his way, she offered him water in a calabash, not a bottle. He drank and nearly cried. It tasted like the honesty Lagos had forgotten. He returned the next day with his air-conditioned car, but she ignored it. 3rd day, he brought a bouquet. She asked, is it edible? That's when he knew she wasn't like the girls who called him baby billionaire. Soon, he started visiting often, pretending to buy corn, then buying her laughter instead. One day, she said, why do rich people always look tired? And he couldn't answer. That was the day he fell. What nobody knew was that Amara was clever, not school clever, but life clever. She didn't argue with Chief Adekunle or tried to prove her worth. She just waited. Because sometimes silence is the loudest statement, and when she finally spoke, the world would hear it loud and clear. Chief Adekunle wasn't the kind of man who surrendered easily. He decided to handle this village spirit with both modern and traditional tools. First, he called his pastor. When that didn't work, he called his herbalist. When even that failed, he called his lawyer to find out if love could be banned by court order. He began sending spies to Amara's village. One came back saying, "Chief, she's too calm." Another said, "Even her goat respects her." Chief groaned. He was losing to a girl whose slippers cost less than his toothpaste. He organized family dinners, hoping to break them apart. But every time he spoke, Amara just smiled, and Damilare held her hand like he was protecting the national budget. "Chief," she said softly one evening, "I respect your concern." Chief almost exploded. Respect! That word felt like sarcasm. Finally, in desperation, Chief declared a fasting and prayer week. He even turned off the house Wi-Fi to prevent demonic influences, mainly TikTok. The staff joined out of fear. The cook prayed while frying plantain. But the more Chief fought, the more love grew. It's the oldest African truth. What you chase away with force often sneaks back with a song. And Amara, she was that song. The wedding day came faster than gossip. The hall was full politicians, pastors, and curious market women pretending to be caterers. Chief Adekunle sat like a thundercloud, ready to strike. Then the pastor asked the ancient question, "Does anyone object?" Chief stood up. The crowd gasped. Cameras flashed. He opened his mouth to speak, but Amara raised her hand first. Her voice was calm but strong. "Chief," she said, "before you stop this, I need to tell you a story." The room froze. Even the generator stopped humming. She spoke about her late mother, how she once worked as a cleaner for a rich man who fired her unjustly, how that same man had promised to care for her unborn child before disappearing, how that man's name was Adekunle Thunder. Silence dropped heavily. Chief's face changed color twice. He remembered the woman, the promise, the shame he buried under his success. Tears rolled. The truth hit him like ancestral thunder. The girl he wanted to stop his son from marrying was the daughter of his own forgotten kindness. The pastor didn't know whether to preach or faint. Chief walked forward slowly, looked at Amara, and whispered, You are my redemption." Then he turned to the crowd, lifted her hand, and said, "Let this marriage stand." And for the first time in Lagos's history, Twitter agreed with a billionaire. And that's how love humbled a billionaire and reminded the world that destiny has no price tag. Next time you judge someone's worth, remember, even a goat-owning girl can silence a man who owns cities. Now breathe, smile, and be grateful at least your love story isn't trending yet.